friends. It's been a little while since I recorded one of these. I'm just going to move the microphone for a second. This is Chapter 7. But before we get into Chapter 7, let me go ahead and address an elephant in the room, because I've gotten several messages about this, even before this podcast, review, whatever you want to call it, was even published. I keep getting told that someone else has beat me to the punch, that someone else has already reviewed it. Yeah, that's not why I'm reviewing this. I don't expect to be the first. I'm doing it because... Look at this fucking book. Just look at it. That's why. Something of this magnitude requires that I skewer it. That being said, let's talk about Chapter 7. In Chapter 7, there is basically just a massive info dump on what the hell Hal is. Now, I know what you're thinking, but Moonhorse, how do we know if the main character doesn't know? Well, that's a very good question, listener, viewer, whatever you are. I don't fucking know either. That's not explained. She just knows now. She just knows all this information. I don't know how, but it's explained in an interview with fake Tony Blair. Because, of course it is. Now, I also want to point out that Norman Boutin once said that she doesn't even speak to the press. However, this interview was televised, so yeah, she kind of does. So, okay, maybe he forgot about that chapter that he wrote. Mainly because it was full of so much information that it really doesn't matter. But, this is what we understand. Hal is not just an alien. Oh no, there's far more to it than that. Hal is a being of some kind from a negative version of our own universe. See, Norman explains that there's all this dark matter, and beings created in a dark matter universe therefore would have no idea of how our universe works. Except that I'm fairly certain dark matter is a colloquialism used by scientists to say things we don't fully understand yet. The universe is full of dark matter because there are reactions in space that we don't have the ability to explain yet because we can't experiment on those things. Thus, those things are dark. It's not a physical thing. It's... whatever. Either way, dark matter universe thing. Is it intelligent? No. Nope. It's just like some kind of primordial thing evolving. It jumps from creature to creature of many different kinds throughout the universe to learn for some unspecified reason. And in doing so, this is really hard for me to get through, by the way, but in doing so, it learns about these creatures, therefore it wants to jump into something more complicated, and grows from that point on. So, in the beginning of the book, Theresa tells the story about how her mom was raking the yard, saw a fox, and then years later, she saw that same fox, and that's how she got Hal, because she says that Hal thought the rake was like a different appendage that people had. For all we know, this thing has been on this planet for so long that several government agencies are assigned to monitor it. Okay? They knew how to pick it up, like, way before it jumped into her. From what we understand. However, given how fluid everything in Norman's writing is, that could also be just wrong. So, they have been monitoring this thing for so long that they know exactly how to pinpoint it. They knew that before it even jumped into her. However, that being said, that means that this thing has been around for so long that it more than likely would have encountered humans on more than one occasion and knows what a fucking tool is. But fuck all that, because that's not what it is. And I also, again, know what you're thinking. But how does anyone know that Hal thought that? Well, I wouldn't be able to tell you. That's not explained either. None of these things are explained. It apparently has the ability to enhance your metabolism, as makes your hair grow faster. Because sure. It makes you stronger. It gives you better accuracy. And by pinpointing this accuracy, I mean creating basically a kind of targeting mechanism when you're trying to be accurate on something. Okay? Theresa's reasoning for this is because snakes have to strike things, and there are certain fish that spit water at bugs to get them to drop into the water so they can eat them. So accuracy is important to these creatures. That is true. However, you are talking about a complex targeting reticle, something that only humans would have any reason to understand. I'm not saying you couldn't teach these animals to learn how a targeting system works. From what I understand, snakes and certain varieties of marine life are fairly intelligent. However, no matter how smart your python or your dolphin is, they would not come across a targeting system naturally. So you would have to teach them. So why the fuck, if this thing is evolving, using information it basically took from other things, think that this would work? Why wouldn't it just naturally enhance your abilities so that you have the ability to figure out the accuracy of things better in your own mind instead of putting a little dot on it? Actually, I know the answer for that. And the answer for that is because Norman has a rudimentary understanding of how accuracy works when it comes to targeting. See, I'm willing to bet a lot of his understanding either comes from weapon sights, like a scope or an iron sight on a gun, or how they do these things in video games. However, the reason those work is because anyone who has ever picked up a rifle or played a shooting game knows that where the dot is predictably where your projectile will hit. However, again, if the scope on your rifle is intentionally misaligned, that dot is useless. So then you compensate for that or you repair the sight. But if you're forced to compensate, then you're doing it all in your mind. The dot is completely useless. You associate, I don't know, if it's 1.5 inches to the left, okay, if I intentionally aim 1.5 inches to the left, I'll hit the target. Why the fuck would a snake know that? I'm going off on a tangent. Whatever, it doesn't matter. The point is, there's so much information, and now all of a sudden, this is the big kicker. Why has the wind stopped, and why do they think Theresa can save the world? Oh, this part hurts me inside. It hurts my inside so badly. So Theresa says that certain animals, like birds and certain insects that fly, require that the air be still so that they can stabilize and fly better. And so, when she was falling out of the plane, Hal made the wind stop. A couple of questions here. If Hal has been inside flying things before, like birds and insects, why didn't he make the wind stop then? No answer. If Hal has been inside things that fly, why wouldn't it help them stabilize their own physical capabilities better? Again, we don't get an answer for that. Okay. So the big question, the big one, how the fuck could it make the wind stop? So far, your only fucking powers affect the physical body of the thing it's inhabiting. Now, all of a sudden, it can infect the entire fucking world. How? How? Ah, this book is so stupid. So that doesn't make any sense, and it's not explained. However, I can tell you right now, wonderful listener, why and how makes the wind stop. And I'll explain it to you in the simplest way I can. Plot contrivance. That's it. Because if Hal didn't make the wind stop, Theresa would not be important. And now that Theresa is important, that moves the plot forward. She has to be important, you see. This is Norman's favorite OC. So therefore, she must be so important that the whole fucking world knows she exists. And she can't do that being a sports star college girl whose biggest problems are whether or not they're going to win the softball game and whether or not she's going to go out with her boyfriend. No. She can't become an Empress if that happens. So, that is the whole point of this. That is the whole reason why Hal suddenly has the ability to stop the wind all over the fucking planet for no reason. Because plot contrivance. That's it. I get the impression this is not going to be the only time plot contrivance comes up. I don't look forward to the rest of the chapters of this book. I really don't. We're not even at the 10th one yet, and I think there's like 28. Fairly certain there's like 28. There are. I just looked. This is going to be a long fucking book. So, yeah, that happens. Oh, and of course, we have the obligatory scenes where she talks about how good she looks, what she's wearing, and has to comment to this news crew who sees her looking at herself in the monitors about how good she looked in her little black nothing, and Steve was just so enamored by this. First off, ew. Secondly, why the fuck would they care? Third, why would they know who Steve is? And fourth, why do you keep writing like this? This makes me so uncomfortable. But that's it for this chapter. So thank you all for watching. If you're enjoying this, I don't know why. But if you are, like, comment, and subscribe. And please think of donating to Patreon. And then actually do it. Because that's how I get paid. I try not to run ads on these things. Ads suck. I know. I also have a merch store where you can buy things. And if you want to send me recommendations, artwork, condolences, you can do all that by sending it to r/Moonhorse Stories. I check it every day, so I'm guaranteed to see it. I love you all so very much, and I'll see you in the next episode. Oh god, here we go. Goodbye.